In the mainline Kingdom Hearts games, Donald and Goofy assist you in combat, albeit with ever-decreasing strength between titles. Regardless, in each game the duo comes with an underrated degree of customization within the menus, and I'm going to show you how to get the most out of these party members across the 3 main games. This guide will mostly be focusing on Donald and Goofy with a couple footnotes for the other guest party members. In Kingdom Hearts 1, Donald and Goofy are at their strongest, with their skills often rivaling that of Sora's. To customize your party members in KH1, visit the Customize menu. These settings can be changed to adjust the priorities of the AI. Some of these settings can be situational, so I'll cover my preferences for specific situations. For Goofy, the first thing I do is turn shield techniques down from constantly to occasionally, because Goofy has an attack in this category where he runs into an enemy and pushes them away. This attack isn't necessarily bad, it multi-hits and can parry enemies, but most of the time it'll cause Goofy to annoyingly push away the enemy you're trying to combo. Turn this to occasionally and crank up regular attacks to constantly, and Goofy will start using basic attacks on your targets instead. Next up for Goofy is his special attacks, which means limits. I like to set this to constantly to maximize Goofy's damage output while he has MP, and once he gets Tornado at level 21, I disable the rest of his limits so he only uses Tornado. At level 43, however, Goofy obtains the best support ability ever created, MP Gift. At this point, you're going to want to shift Goofy into a support build so he shares his MP bar with the team, since he can convert 2 MP into 3 MP and essentially turn his MP bar into an ether factory. Go grab the Royal Crown and Hollow Bastion on your way to Maleficent for the best results. Evolution is another support skill Goofy learns in the mid-game, but it costs 3 MP for the healing capability of a Mega Potion, so it's not particularly worth using. By endgame, MP Gift should be the only MP consuming ability Goofy has equipped to maximize the party's MP reserves. Stack MP Haste and MP Rage for maximum effect. As for Donald, his AI is a lot smarter than the memes like to suggest he is. His AI is very opportunistic when it comes to spellcasting, and with a high enough magic stat, he can wipe entire groups of mobs before you even have a chance to swing. Around the time you get Cure and Arrow, however, Donald's basic spells fall off pretty badly in damage, and you're better off turning him into a defensive cure bot. So turn everything else off, and set his defensive spells to constant. As for his advanced spells, Stop and Gravity are expensive and situational spells that are better used by the player. Donald's AI will go ham on behemoths with gravity spam if you set his advanced magic to constant, but half of these will probably miss thanks to the delay of gravity, and you really don't want Donald to waste 2 MP on a bad stop. Remember, it's not just Donald's MP bar, it's also coming out of Goofy's MP bar, which means less MP for you.
Think about it.
With a properly tuned party, Goofy will give his MP to Donald while he spams heals and arrows, and Sora will have enough for any spell or limit that is needed. As for items, I think it's best to set item usage to constant no matter what, because you typically only stock Donald and Goofy's items before difficult fights when they are needed the most. Getting into KH2, party members are immediately underwhelming compared to KH1. They do good damage in the early game, but it doesn't take long for their contributions to be completely overshadowed by Sora, with their most notable contributions being gatekeepers for limits and forms. However, certain setups and certain fights will let you squeeze a lot of utility out of Donald and Goofy. KH2 enhances your party control with a new customized menu giving you a ton of options. There's a lot of options here, but by far the most standout options are Sora Attack and Relentless Attack. Sora Attack is extremely useful if you want your party members to prioritize items and spells to be used as soon as possible. And it's also useful if you want party members to leave the enemies alone. This seems counterproductive, but because KH2 enemies are programmed to retaliate when struck, party members can create a lot of chaos while also dealing unremarkable damage. Combine this with flinch count sensitive reaction commands like Bat Cry and Cyclone, and it becomes clear why you would want your party members to stand idle. On the topic of reducing party member clutter, forced party members often have troublesome abilities that are worth unequipping, like Auto Limit. Most infamously, Auron comes stock with Auto Limit equipped in the Hades Escape fight. which is a fight with a ton of useful reaction commands that get overwritten by Auron's limit. Turn this off, and while you're here, turn off Divider so Auron doesn't use his low damage AoE that staggers all the bats so that you can do Bat Cry in peace. Because of the way Relentless Attack makes the party continually spam their MP attacks, it outclasses all the other offensive AI options. If you don't care about the extra chaos Donald and Goofy might make, cranking their AI to Relentless can get you some really good results. Goofy Tornado is especially nice when set to Relentless Attack, since Tornado has massive AoE stun potential as Goofy can pull in multiple enemies into it like a goddamn Tom and Jerry bit. So you want him spamming this as much as possible. Even large enemies like those big red fuckers in Hollow Bastion aren't free from this carnage. Unequip all of Goofy's other limits so he only uses Tornado, just like in KH1. Boss fights are also where Relentless Attack can make party members shine. Grim Reaper 2 in the second visit of Port Royal is another great place for Relentless Attack, since Donald can help gain you medallions with Blizzard and Goofy can yield a bunch of MP orbs while using Tornado. For best results, make sure Donald only has Blizzard equipped, since Thunder can unfreeze the boss and get you killed. For the same reason, Relentless Attack is good against hostile program, so you can scoop up a bunch of clusters on the ground for free.
Back off!
Donald Thunder and Goofy Tornado has a handful of iframes, so setting them to Relentless Attack can also increase their survivability against tough fights. Now for an important PSA. Anytime you get this message that a party member has departed and relinquished their equipment, it also means that all of their abilities have been removed once they rejoin. This happens when Goofy rejoins the party after his brutal death, and most dubiously, when Jack rejoins the party before the Barbossa fight where he is forced into the party and also causes a game over when he dies. This is a disaster because Jack with no abilities and armor is a massive liability. KH3 is where party members become even less meaningful, though it helps that they seem to do a better job at attracting enemies away from Sora, especially when you have 2 extra guest party members. Donald comes stock with all of his spells right away, but you might want to remove most of them. Donald's Thunder and Arrow are both smaller than Sora's basic versions of the spells and never get upgraded, so investing primarily into Fire and/or Blizzard is probably your best bet for Donald. Arrow also deals the weakest damage out of all of his spells and can create some potentially unwanted Arrow trampolines. Honestly, once you get Donald's Fire boosts, you're probably better off removing Blizzard and maybe even Cure, so that Donald spends all of his MP on strong Fire blasts. Donald learns Fire Boost almost immediately, and extra Fire Boosts are available for Donald if you seek them out. As for Goofy, he also starts off with all of his old abilities, and Tornado manages to be the best of the lot, though not by much. It has the highest potential damage, so remove everything else to get the most out of it. Beyond this, Goofy doesn't offer much besides his friendship commands, which have some secret depth about them. Against the sock puppet enemies, Goofy Bombardier has a special interaction which insta-kills these enemies. Goofy also has a secret property in the first Upper Olympus fight, where he gets auto-revived quicker than usual and always generates Trinity Guard, which instantly breaks this enemy's armor gimmick.
My shield! I'm ready! Okay! Go!
Later on, certain items will open up new strategies for your party members, namely the 3 amulets. First one is the Gold Amulet, which can be gotten easily from Toy Box. It'll upgrade all money prices into large money, an absolute must-have for gaining money quickly. Second is the Bronze Amulet, found here in Corona by the rabbits. And last is the Silver Amulet found here in Frozen. I recommend giving these to Goofy instead of Donald so he'll have more space for extra Fire Boost rings or what have you. To get even more out of these prizes, there's a ring I always go out of my way to synth in every KH3 playthrough, the Master Draw Ring. To unlock it, snap a photo of the tram for the Moogle's photo quest, and by the time this unlocks, you should have enough synth materials to make it immediately. This ring gives you infinite treasure magnet range and is invaluable for scooping up the prizes that Goofy will be augmenting. The customized menu makes a grand return in KH3, finally giving you individual options for the parties targeting for healing items. You might assume that you should set all party members to only use items on Sora, but I'm not so sure that this is a good idea. Personally, I think letting party members keep themselves alive is more valuable to you, so you avoid situations where everyone else is dead and all the enemies are targeting Sora. You shouldn't even rely on receiving potions from party members in KH3, because they must be physically close enough to Sora to actually give you a potion, and can die easily in the process. Even party members with Cure will still waste their time with the cinematic gesture when you need it the most.
Thanks!
You also get to set usage frequency for both abilities and healing independently, which I recommend to set to Go Wild and use like crazy, so your party gets as much done as possible before their inevitable deaths. Mike Wazowski is a special party member who has the best support ability in the game, Pep Talk. Pep Talk is a buff that increases all allies' damage by 50% and gives immunity to status ailments. If you remember Spirit Roar from DDD, it's essentially the same thing. He's set to spam this ability by default, but he's also got a second ability which uses MP and also can get him killed, Googly Appeal. Remove this ability and you're set for your Monstropolis visit. As for the rest of the guests, investing AP rings into the party members that have team effort is always worth it. Team effort grants an instant team attack at the start of every battle, so at worst it'll give you a get out of jail free card, and at best it'll blow everything up.
Hang on! Go time!
You can get an easy AP ring early on by taking photos of some lucky emblems, but try to remember to remove the ring at the end of the visit, or else you'll have to get more for later party members.